Welcome back, guys, to another Zero DTE video, and today Coach Ernie is going to be talking about volume profile, so make sure you stay tuned. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, check out the link in the description to find Coach Ernie's Skool Community. Enjoy, guys.
Volume profile and the profile itself, the market structure, is a fundamental tool. It really is. And you could make a living off of just trading the profile. I think the profile is so profound that you could trade with the profile alone, forget candlesticks. In fact, a lot of people do that. The thing about it is that it is completely raw data. There's no manipulation of the data. There's no calculation. There's no averaging. There's no look back. It is what it is. It is showing you the most objective way of looking at the market, where the market finds value and where it doesn't. And it puts it in terms of what the market is all about, the market auction process. It's showing you where the market is auctioning. And it will show you not only where it's auctioning, but it will show you the delineation from levels where it finds value and it doesn't find value. And what a lot of people don't really pay attention to in the profile is how important the individual features of a node and the little cracks and all that, they all become, particularly in short-term trading, they all become extremely important and relevant.
Can you go a little further?
I can go a lot further, Jerry. That's where I am struggling because it's not that complex. There's only a few primary topics around it. In my previous teachings, I used to talk about patterns that you would often see. And I think that's maybe a little bit of a mistake, a little bit going off the farm a bit. I don't know that there's any particular patterns that I see with any relevance. And what I'm talking about is patterns that you would see with various profile elements and the relationship between them. I held on to that belief for a long time after doing a lot of study on market profile. And those were beliefs that were passed down by people like Peter Stottlemyre and others, James Dalton, who are some of the prequels to volume profile when they were teaching market profile. This goes all the way back to the 80s. But they focused more on short-term profiles, looking at daily profiles. And they were really into the shapes of the profiles and then the relationship of one profile to another. And over time, they started to try to meld the profiles and show patterns between them. And then I started realizing that most of what they were teaching there was starting to get a little foo, kind of like Elliott wave. And that's when I broke from that and started looking at the profile from a much wider point of view and recognizing that there was a great deal of memory in a profile, that profiles in the short term, a daily profile or a session profile, was insufficient because they did not capture the true power of the profile. And that power was in the long-term profile, the long-term history of the profile. And the history and the memory in a profile was profound, and they completely ignored it in their teachings of market profile. And that's where I split. And then later on, I think maybe very recently, maybe 3 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I started reading about Benoit Mandelbrot and some of his theories on system memory and market memory. And it wasn't an epiphany. I'd already discovered the phenomenon, but it reinforced everything that I said because I'm realizing that, hey, somebody of real note has actually studied this, and it extends beyond markets. It extends into natural physical systems. Put that together with other people that I've worked with in the past that said that physical systems have parallels in terms of how they behave and how you can describe them mathematically to data systems or data that you can plot and so forth and occurrences. And so that had a profound impact. It was with a fellow, man, I wish I could remember his name because I worked with him for almost a year, but he was one of the lead IT scientists at Time Warner in New York City, and I was helping them develop a system. And he wrote a book and it had a blog on it. Man, if I could only remember. I bet you if I did some research, I could, just based on the topic, because he was more of a data architect, data scientist. And he had this theory that data itself had physical properties that were very much like fluid dynamics and the flow of data. And by constraining it or expanding the conduit to that data, it would act a lot like fluids, and you would apply fluid, and it was very accurate. When I'm putting all that together, I'm thinking, man, this is really interesting. And that's where I started to develop this idea that the structure was more like a topographical structure, much like a topographical map. Or the example I give a lot of people is like mountains and valleys, or mountains and hot plains, and how things behave in those two different environments. So once you really get into it, you start understanding a lot more about how price is likely to behave as it is traversing across these topological features, these profiles. I haven't put any like real science to it, but I think that there's something in there between this other fellow that at Time Warner that had this idea of fluid dynamics, and Benoit Mandelbrot with his system memory, that probably makes a lot of sense.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button below. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, remember to check out the link in the description for Ernie's Skool Community.